What's it mean to be by far the best house in a really difficult neighborhood? Take Nucor, easily the best steel maker in the world, but unfortunately steel is highly cyclical, meaning it's hostage to the broader economy, and at the moment the economy, well, we know it's in bad shape. However, Nucor reported this morning, and the stock's holding up surprisingly well. While the company delivered better than expected sales and earnings, they just did give an updated guidance for the quarter in late March. More importantly, management gave us a glimpse of the future. They predicted a loss next quarter, cut their capital expenditure guidance, and generally described a challenging environment, but it wasn't really pretty. But maybe it didn't need to be, as the stock actually ended up effectively flat today. I think it's probably too soon to start buying the cyclicals, but once we're closer to the end of this downturn, well, this is the one you got to buy. So let's take a closer look with Leon Topalian. He's the new president and CEO to give out a better sense of where his company's headed. Mr. Topalian, welcome to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you having me tonight.
All right, well, you're our third CEO. And we loved everybody. Jeff Arreola was terrific. I'm close to Dan D'Amico. You came in the toughest of circumstances imaginable. What's it like to take over the company in the midst of the worst pandemic in 100 years?
Well, Jim, let me begin with thanking our real heroes on the front lines, our doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, our firefighters and EMTs, like my daughter, serving on the front lines to battle this terrible pandemic.
Where is she?
I'd like to thank our team.
Where's your
daughter? She works
in
Charlotte.
In Charlotte. Well, yes, I don't know if they did the flyover there. They did the flyover in New York and Philadelphia, and it was fabulous to salute these people like your daughter.
And Jim, it's certainly not the envisioned time I envisioned for my first 100 days with this pandemic. However, at the end of the day, there are several things that I would point to, and about Nucor and our culture. We have the greatest manufacturing team assembled anywhere in the world. And we have the financial strength and discipline to not just survive this pandemic, but thrive coming out the other side of it. I couldn't be more confident in our team and our capabilities that we've been able to build over the years to weather this storm and any others that come down the road.
Now, the price of steel has come down. What does that mean in terms of taking out costs to be able to make it so Nucor can stick by your incredible dividend that you've always treasured and that our viewers love?
Look, at the end of the day, the low-cost producer wins, and Nucor has been a low-cost producer in every segment of our markets that we've been serving for a very long time. That will continue. And regarding the dividends, Jim, I looked at it this morning. We've been providing a dividend since I was 5 years old, and I'm not going to be the first CEO in Nucor's history to stop that. That will continue. Now,
when you say the lowest cost producer, I used to talk to Dan D'Amico all the time, and he said, unless we have tariffs, we're not on a level playing field, and our lowest cost production won't matter. So obviously you think that the tariffs are still working.
Absolutely. And as recent as 2 weeks ago, the president reinforced the 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum. Jim, there are millions of tons of steel being produced in China. When the world reopens, those tons are going to look to find their home somewhere, including the United States. We need comprehensive, effective, fair trade, and 232 is part of that lever.
Now, you do say that you think the market, and I'm quoting, the market will bottom in the second quarter. So you have that level of conviction.
Yes, we do at this point, Jim. But the other side of that is also to approach some of our capital spending and our future with a very disciplined approach. We've taken a pause on some of the capital spending that we're looking at, but our construction segment, which is about 50% of Nucor's overall business, continues to be very resilient in the current environment. So we are optimistic that we'll see the bottom in Q2 and move out of that as we enter the third and fourth quarters.
There's one of the orders that you have when I would speak with your previous two predecessors is one that we were always worried would go to China. Military and defense applications, including 2 aircraft carriers being built for the U.S. Navy. Isn't it true that if we did not have some sort of level playing field, we could envision a world where a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier was made with Chinese steel that may not be good enough when faced with an opponent?
I couldn't agree with you more, and yes is the short answer. Jim, I'm so proud of our teams across Nucor that are supplying that steel to those two aircraft carriers for military and defense. But you strike something that we need to think about as Americans. I think this pandemic has caused the American people to begin to look at the global supply over-dependence on China, not just in manufacturing and steel, but in pharma, in medical devices, in our PPE. We have got to become a nation that builds and makes things again, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, we all feel, I think, when I ask drug companies, yes, I asked Mike Roman for 3M. I said, look, will you make all the stuff that we really need here? And he made a commitment to do that. I think the problem is our country has one major steel company. It's Nucor. And I so fear that a tank will be made by Chinese steel, or some missile will be made by Chinese steel. Could that still happen?
You know, Jim, as long as I'm at the helm and the 30,000 team members, nearly 30,000 team members that represent Nucor's family, we're going to ensure we do everything in our power to make sure that never happens. I would tell you the current administration is committed to steel and manufacturing in the United States, particularly around our military applications. And our new plate mill in Brandenburg, Kentucky, will be the largest single differentiated value proposition that will supply the military's future needs as we move forward.
I also wanted to, how's Sedalia doing? Now that you've been building plants. I mean, one of the things I think people don't realize is that when they decided to make it so you couldn't flood our country with cheap, bad steel, you went to work and built plants that have made whole towns into cities.
Absolutely, Jim, and you know, you've been to many of our locations. I couldn't be prouder of the work that we're doing, and that continues to grow. We're going to build a new capacity at Gallatin. We're going to build a brand new facility at our Brandenburg, Kentucky location. We're expanding in 2 micro mills in Frostproof, Florida, as well as Sedalia, Missouri. That investment strategy is what's positioned Nucor to be the preeminent supplier of choice in North America.
All right, one last question. I think because of your position, the great breadth of product that you now have touches everything. You probably have a better feel for the economy than almost anyone. Where are we really?
Look, at the end of the day, Jim, we're assessing all of that. If you watch, and you do, and watch your segment this morning, economists are varied whether the oil crisis will be 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. And so what I would tell you is Nucor's positioned itself to not overlever, to maintain the greatest army of manufacturing professionals anywhere assembled in the world, and to maintain the financial discipline to ensure we can continue to invest for the future. So as we go forward, Jim, you will see a stronger Nucor come out the other side of this pandemic, and we'll do it together.
Well, that's what people want. Best of breed. Leon Topalian, Nucor President CEO, congratulations on your job, sir.
Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you to your daughter.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim.
Nucor, when the economy turns, it's Nucor. It's always Nucor. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @JimCramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Kramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.